had blown her plans for a surprise 3-year anniversary supper. Both working for the same bank, she accounts, him lending. The resurgent banking crisis was still playing havoc with their home life. The alternative supper option, a delve in the freezer for a ready meal, didn't hold much appeal. But the way her journey home was shaping up, it was rapidly becoming the most likely. Turning her face to the display board above the platform, she read the latest update. The next train through Crewe Station's Platform 11, due in 4 minutes, was the Glasgow to Euston Intercity Express. Her own Stafford train showed 3 back, 20 minutes later than its scheduled time. It was the 3rd such delay this week, and it was still only Thursday. As the chill wind that haunts railway hubs in winter wafted down the platform, Sarah folded across the lapel of her camel wool coat and resolved to wear a thicker scarf tomorrow. Maybe even the multicoloured horror Gary had bought her last Christmas, part of a gift set. With no sign of the late cold snap that had gripped the country the past week disappearing, style may just have to go on hold for a while. Better than bloody freezing. She thought about making her way to the American coffee house the other end of the platform and grabbing a cappuccino. At least it would take her away from the annoying cacophony she'd been subjected to the last few minutes. When she'd first arrived at her usual waiting spot, 3/4 of the way down the platform, she hadn't given the middle-aged man in the full-length Crombie and quirky fedora, pulled low, a second glance. But after a few minutes, as the sound of some vaguely familiar tune she couldn't quite make out intruded more and more into her consciousness, she turned to see where it was coming from. She'd been surprised, given his age, when she saw the trendy beats over his ears, from which the music was leaking. Thinking of him again prompted her to glance over her shoulder, which was when she realized he was standing much closer to her now. Barely a meter away, and still all but hidden behind the newspaper, which obscured his face. The page facing showed a headline above a report with an accompanying photograph. Sarah paid it scant regard, yet still gleamed it was something to do with a lighthouse. Some dramatic rescue. For some reason the image it evoked, like the music, seemed strangely familiar. Déjà vu or what? For his part, the man in the hat seemed oblivious to the annoyance he was causing. She wondered what the thumping beat must be doing to his eardrums, if she could hear it so clearly. It also made her think again on what it was. It irked more than she knew it should, that she couldn't place it. Thrusting her gloved hands deeper into her pockets, she decided. Though the cappuccino down the platform wasn't up to much, it was preferable to having to listen to some weirdo's idea of music. But as she made to turn to where the cafe's leaded windows cast a spider's web of yellow light across the platform, she was surprised to discover she was reluctant to tear herself away. It felt almost like she was in the grip of some compulsion by which she couldn't leave until she had identified what the music was, where she'd heard it before. The deep bass tones had a curiously affecting quality. And now there was something else. Though she couldn't say why, her brain seemed to be making a connection between the music and the story she had glimpsed in the newspaper. The one about the lighthouse rescue. An image of a cheering light, growing brighter, came to her. A feeling she couldn't really describe, other than it seemed to contain elements of both apprehension and elation, rose within her. At that moment, a voice, low, but melodious and silky smooth, sounded close to her ear. "Make ready, Sarah. Your salvation draws near." She knew at once it was him, though how she knew she couldn't say. And there was something about the words that made her feel lethargic, like she'd suddenly been drained of energy. More than that, they brought with them an overwhelming feeling of sadness. What's happening to me? She thought. Close to that time of the month, Sarah's first thought was she was about to experience one of her debilitating migraines. But as her vision stayed clear and the nauseous pain didn't come, she dismissed it. This was something else. Confused and a little concerned, Sarah glanced behind. At first, all she